The Conservation Reserve Program, also known as CRP, has a general sign-up starting January 4th and runs through February 12th. Today we're going to visit with North Dakota FSA Program Director Wanda Brayton and North Dakota Game and Fish Department PLI Coordinator Kevin Kading. I'm Mike Anderson with the North Dakota Game and Fish Department. Wanda, give our viewers some information about the general sign-up.
CRP, which is a Conservation Reserve Program, is actually a federally funded USDA program in which it retires agricultural land into a conserve and use cover for a 10 to 15-year period of under a contract, in which producers and landowners receive annual rental payments on an annual basis and along with cost share assistance to establish the covers.
Wanda, what is the best way for a producer to make their CRP offer competitive and increase the likelihood that their land will be accepted?
So as you just said, the general sign-up 56, it is very competitive. It actually, producers who offer the land into CRP, they are actually competing on a nationwide basis. What makes it competitive is that producers, when they're offering their land, it's all going to be based on an environmental benefit index score, which we call the EBI. That EBI is made up of 6 different factors, of which only 2 of those factors allow the producer to actually manipulate their score and try and increase it for better acceptance. The other factors are all based on where the land is located and whether or not they're located within any kind of environmental priority areas. The 2 factors would be our wildlife and benefit index, which, depending on if the producer is willing to enhance that score and plant a more diverse type cover, that would increase their score. The second factor is the cost. So FSA would calculate out what that maximum per acre rental rate would be. For every whole dollar under that rate the producer is willing to offer their land, they receive additional points for that. So that's how a producer can make their score more competitive.
Okay, what's the best way for a producer to find out more information?
Actually, we have a couple of ways. They can contact their local county office and they can make an appointment to visit with one of the program specialists there. Or they can actually go on to a couple of our websites that we have. We have www.farmers.gov, and they can go in and click on the conserve, it basically says, which brings you into some conservation programs and along with other USDA programs. Otherwise, they can go into www.usda.gov, and that again will provide them with information on conservation and other USDA programs that we have ongoing.
Okay, and things are just a little bit different this year with the COVID-19
pandemic. It is, yep. So for right now, with the COVID-19 restrictions that we have, visitors are not allowed within the service center, but that's why we're asking producers to contact that county office, and then we can make appointments for them to be able to work on the offers for enrollment into general sign-up or any of our programs that we have.
And the dates again?
Again, the general sign-up will run from January 4th through February 12th.
A lot of great information. Thanks, Wanda. Joining me now is Kevin Kading, PLI Coordinator, Plots Coordinator. Kevin, Game and Fish has always had an interest in CRP. Explain.
Well, over the 35 years the program has been around, I mean, we've recognized the value of the wildlife habitat that is produced from CRP. The program has changed a lot over that time period. It's adapted to the landscape. It's adapted in a lot of different ways. And so over those years, though, it's provided a lot of benefits for wildlife habitat, soil erosion, water quality, other benefits to society that way too. And so we recognize that. We know that it's changed. There's maybe ways that producers can utilize that to target certain problem areas in their field now versus maybe whole quarter sections or big chunks of land that they used to typically enroll. But obviously that's why we have an interest in CRP, because of the wildlife habitat value that it provides.
Kevin, where does the North Dakota Game and Fish Plots program come into play?
So PLOTS stands for Private Land Open to Sportsmen. And so if a producer has land that's in CRP and they're looking to if they're willing to allow walk-in access for public hunting, they can visit with our private lands biologists about that and possibly enroll that land into that program and receive some additional income for incentives for allowing that walk-in hunting. We also provide incentives and some cost share if they're planting new grass, planting new cover, or enhancing existing cover. So that's something they can keep in mind. But plots doesn't necessarily just have to be CRP. We have a lot of land that's actual working lands, whether it's actively being farmed or ranched. those lands provide a lot of wildlife habitat and a lot of benefits to hunting as well. And so we have a program for that as well underneath plots. And so it doesn't necessarily have to just be CRP to be enrolled in the plots program.
Okay, and how can a producer learn more information?
For the plots program, they can contact any of our Game and Fish Department private lands biologists. We have information on our website. They can call our state office and visit with them about the plots program and ways that it can work for them. It doesn't even necessarily have to be CRP. It can be other lands as well if they're interested in just allowing walk-in hunting access. For CRP, we recommend they visit with their local county USDA office and visit with them about eligibility and how they can apply for the program.
Okay, and like I asked Wanda, is there anything different as far as with the COVID-19 pandemic for your PLI biologists?
Yeah, most of the private lands biologists are dealing with appointments over the phone or over email. We can certainly still come out and take a look at their land and go out on site, but face-to-face visits are fairly limited. If anything, we'd like to do as much business over the phone as possible.
A lot of great information, Kevin. Thank you.
Thanks.